How you been, man?
I've been good.
Looks like you're here back in San Diego again.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, should we start with our homeworks?
Oh, you want some more? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, you were supposed to bring me the evidences in book format, I think you said, right? Of the number of slaves that you claimed and names and documentations for the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
I do not remember that. You want me to give the names?
You forgot?
I think it's
No.
provisions
Wait.
of the afterlife.
You forgot your homework?
I do not remember that.
Oh,
you want me to
man.
look up the names? I know
You
several
made
of them.
you made a claim. How many
slave.
did you claim were the Prophet had how many slaves?
Provisions of the afterlife. I think names 27 of his slaves.
So you said that he had 27 slaves, not through war, right? This was your claim, and you were
Was he at war with Africa during this time?
There were people that were taken through war by different tribes of Africa before Islam that were given. Yes, that is true. But you were supposed to bring that evidence. That was your homework.
I do not remember that. What did I say? I said I was going to show up.
Yes, with that evidence. We have it on tape. We have it on video. I mean, not tape anymore, on VHS or anything. Really? You don't remember your homework, huh?
No.
Oh, man, you weren't a good student, were you?
No.
All right. The homework you had assigned me, which I did remember and I brought, is that
So you actually showed up with something.
with my homework,
with some
as
notes.
every
Oh,
time.
that's interesting.
Wait. Every time you've come out here, I have brought you books to bring you evidences. I brought you Ibn Kathir. I showed the
Yeah, but you keep twisting it.
Let me finish, right?
Everything.
When I brought you the actual evidence to show that Ibn Abbas's quote was not in the book that you claimed, you then blamed it on a website. But
Because that was a lie.
It was not.
That was a total lie.
Really? How is that?
That was a complete lie.
How is that?
Okay, so
Did I not bring you the book and ask you to show it to me?
You brought me Ibn Kathir.
Okay.
What is that going to have to do with anything?
That's Ibn Kathir that you were
No,
mentioning.
but listen. So,
Okay.
quick recap. The verse says Allah created every living thing out of water.
Uh-huh.
Right? And you said this means that the fundamental component, you can correct me if I'm misrepresenting something here, you said that the fundamental component of living things is water.
Okay.
So I pointed out a bunch of verses which say that man's created of clay, man's created of dust, and this can't mean that the fundamental component is...
And I explained to you that when we look at the word ma, according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, it has different meanings.
Yeah, that's fine.
Some of them, no, hold on, not that's fine and try to skip over it, bro. Take it easy, right? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَا كُلُّ شَيْءٍ مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ مِنَ الْمَاءِ, that we made everything living out of water, this is explained that this is the component of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made insan and all living things through, right? But when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when the ma is released, then you have to make ghusl. Here the reference is to sperm, to semen, right? Because of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that explains the ayat that man, when it came from ma, meaning sperm, right? And I brought you these evidence to show you, because a word is used in context. And that's why we have things like Ibn Kathir. And I brought you Ibn Kathir to show you the references for that, right?
I quoted Ibn Abbas.
Okay.
All right. I quoted Ibn Abbas, who gave an interpretation that when it talks about the water, it's talking about the fluids of the male and female, right?
Which water are we talking about?
In created everything from water.
Okay.
In the website I was using, they gave that quotation from Ibn Abbas, saying that when it says that everything's created from water, it's the same thing as his interpretation when it says that man is created from water, talking about the fluids of the male and female.
So
because
then you took...
Because according to Islam, Allah creates everything in pairs,
Hold on. So you took a reference that was... Because that website, you don't know who made it. So you are going to a random Googled website, right? And I'm just saying Shia because of the name, right? But whether Shia, Sunni, or whoever, people need to bring you the actual evidences. And if you aren't careful enough to check which website, right now you could Google whether the earth is flat or not, and some website's going to have some weird arguments. And if you're just going off of that, you are misguiding your viewers. You are giving them information that is actually incorrect, that is not found, right? And it's about a different ayah.
No, it's on the site. It is, it is that high. On the site it is that high. And you responded by saying, no, that's a Shia website, you can't trust that.
The one you showed us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if we can go through and find that Ibn Abbas in no book that can be attributed authentically talks about that ayah in that way, will you at least admit that you made a false accusation if we can prove that.
Yeah, it'd be very simple. You can contact them, ask them where they're getting this. If they don't have a place, they send you a message back saying, yeah, we screwed up. Then that's done.
And then David Wood will admit that he made a false accusation, and we're good.
I'll admit that I believed a Muslim website. Shame on me.
You don't know if they're a Muslim. You don't know who made that website, so don't make assumptions.
Okay, so it's an atheist website.
I don't know. I don't know. So the issue is these websites, we don't know who made them. You don't know, and I don't know, and I shouldn't assume, and you shouldn't assume. I don't go online and find some website called christiansomething.com and assume.
That's true of everything.
ahlulbayt.org or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
you
now
said that's a Shia site, right?
And the issue.
This is my problem. You're saying that's a Shia site.
Listen, right? What you showed us from the name of it, as I said, I don't know the site, but it seems like it is. And I told you not to go to random websites, but to bring actual books. And that's why I brought you the actual tafsir of Ibn Kathir, and I showed you that ayah, and I asked you to find me that, because you know that Ibn Abbas never wrote a book of tafsir, right? You know that or you don't know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there have been people that have collected, like Al-Iqtibas, which are all the weak narrations, right? But those are later works. Those are not the works of Ibn Abbas. The original works of tafsir, like Ibn Kathir and others, when they recorded as well, we checked the authenticity of those narrations, right? Because what you're trying to do is just trying to find a quote here, trying to find a quote here, and trying to misrepresent. What we're trying to do is look at the... Okay.
That's the organization.
Okay,
so this is the organization. You said I can't trust this site because it's a Shia site.
Could be. I don't know the site, as I told you that I did.
You insisted. You literally laughed in my face for quoting a Shia site.
Listen to me.
And now it's well, it could be a Shia site.
Listen, David. Go back and watch the video.
I will. I'll put it all together for everyone. You literally laughed in my face for using the Shia site.
Listen. Don't cut.
Now it's not a Shia site anymore. Suddenly.
I didn't say that, right? Don't cut and clip. Play the whole segment, unlike what you do with the regular stuff, right? Listen. What I told you is I don't know the site. Looking at the name, it seemed like a Shia site.
You're saying the organization is a Shia organization.
Look, I didn't even mention the word organization. I told you about the website's name. Watch the whole video. That's why we post the whole thing. We don't just cut and clip, right? Now, and the funny thing is, you saw that our camera died, and then you kept on recording after we were done, and then he was like, oh, Sheikh Uthman doesn't want to show this. You saw that our camera died because yeah, we were telling you when you were there.
I didn't say your camera died.
Look, we were recording. Listen. We recorded.
You know what you guys are doing over there?
Listen to me.
Your camera dies right now. I don't know that.
Listen to me. When you were here, when I talked to them,
can't last 3 hours?
No, it cannot. I mean, and we've been recording before you get here. We're not just like you, where you just sit there and wait to come and record me. I record here. We've been recording now since 2 o'clock since I got here, right?
You should bring in extra batteries.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Bring extra batteries.
But the dishonest part is that when you cut and paste the clips and we post the whole thing, when we weren't recording, when we weren't recording, when I told you we're done, when we finished and you kept recording, then you tried to make it
I'm dishonest. Then continuing to record our conversation.
No. You're dishonest because he said that we didn't post a part of the recording, which is not true.
You could have used mine and used it.
Send it to me.
Yeah,
send me your raw data. No problem.
You can have it.
Yeah. All right. Now wait. Hold on.
Hang on. You spent 2 days convincing me that this is a Shia site.
I did not. I did not spend 2 days convincing you any of that.
You did it on one day when we were talking about water. Then I showed up the next time and you had Ibn Kathir and you said, do you agree?
Yes, I showed you
and you're telling me it's a Shia site.
Listen, I showed you an actual book, the actual Ibn Kathir, right? Now what I told you, and your followers can go watch the whole segment if they like, is I don't know the site, but it seems like a Shia site by the name of it, right? Usually when you find Ahlul Bayt this or that, or the Shia sites,
right? So you didn't say it's a Shia site.
I told
I won't
you.
Find you going, ha, he said he's using a Shia site.
Listen, what I told you, and I'm saying it again, go check it again, is that don't go to random sites. I don't know the site. I told you it seems like you're going to a Shia site. No doubt.
Well, now you can know the site. Now you can know the
site.
Go ahead.
Let's know.
Established in 1980, the Royal Al-Bayt Institute for Islamic Thought.
Royal Ahlul Bayt.
It's not Ahl.
Al Bayt. Yeah, okay.
Islamic Thought is an independent, international Islamic non-governmental organization headquartered in Manjwar, blah, 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 blah. Since 2000, HRH Prince Ghazi bin Mohammed chief advisor to H.M. King Abdullah. So King Abdullah, is he Shia?
I don't know.
You don't know King Abdullah is Shia?
Let me see.
Okay, and that advisor, is he Shia?
Can I see which King Abdullah, which country? Can I check it? I mean,
it's King
you're trying to
Abdullah.
like skip through it, right?
I believe it's King Abdullah II of Jordan.
I don't know him to be Shia, that is true. But do you know who Prince Ghazi ibn Muhammad is?
I'm asking you.
I don't know.
You're saying he's Shia.
I didn't say he was Shia.
They give the scholars here.
Okay.
So you heard of these guys? Professor Dr. Sheikh Ahmed Mohammed Al-Tayyib of Egypt?
Don't know.
Not a Shia? Is he Shia?
I don't know him.
Okay. Sheikh Dr. Ali Gamal of Egypt?
Not a Shia, but definitely not a Shia, but I don't follow him because of the weak narration that he depends on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sheikh Omar bin Mohammed bin Hafiz from Yemen?
Don't know.
Don't know him? So could be a Shia?
Could not be Shia, yeah.
Dr. Shia Muhammad Taqi Usmani of Pakistan?
Shia Taqi Usmani, I know him, yes.
Shia?
Not a Shia.
Not a Shia.
Even though I don't follow him either, by the way.
Amirul Mu'minin Sheikh Al-Sultan Muhammadu Saud Abu Bakr III of Nigeria.
Don't know him.
He's the spiritual leader of Nigeria.
Interesting.
So, Shia? You think he's Shia? You think they're Shia?
I don't think so.
Okay, not Shia. Now you should know this guy, Professor Dr. Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi.
I know Qaradawi, don't follow him either because the weak narrations. Not Shia.
It's a lot of Sunnis on the. It's a lot of Sunnis for this organization.
So, alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Hayyakum Allah. Mother? Oh, mashallah, barakallah laka. Hayyakum Allah, sharaf lana, hayyakum Allah. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Hayyakum Allah.
Khair for the work you do.
Akramak Allah, may Allah accept it from us.
Allah bless you and your people.
Jazakallah khair. Allah accept it from us.
Awesome content, mashallah.
Allah accept
Nobody
it.
got nothing on you. You know what I mean? They keep coming, you know, but nobody got nothing on you.
As long as we got brothers like you supporting, we're all good, man. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Hayyakum Allah, habibi. Go ahead. So wait.
The point
hold on.
is these are very respected scholars.
Did they write those books?
Right, what books?
The books that you were showing.
No, they're the organization, and they have a couple of projects.
Okay.
That's one of their main projects. Is that site which compiles the tafsir.
Okay, but let me explain something to you.
You throw all these guys under the bus. They're Shias.
No, I did not. You're lying. Dave, come on.
You know I got the video.
Allah
right?
knows. I did not say those guys are Shia. I did not mention those guys. Those guys are advisors on a panel. You're just showing me pictures, right?
A Shia panel.
It's not a Shia panel, apparently, although I don't know that to be true either, right? I don't know the website. I don't know the organization. We saw ahlulbayt.org, which I told you is indicative of it being a Shia site, but that's not even the point. The point is the reference to authentic narration. Ibn Abbas did not write a book of tafsir. Later compilizations like Al-Iqtibas have been criticized because they're weak ahadith and they're referenced incorrectly. Classic tafasir like At-Tabari and Ibn Kathir and so on that I actually brought you the book, you couldn't even find the narration in. So can you show me an authentic... Yes, so can you show me a book that says that Ibn Abbas made this tafsir an authentic chain? Go ahead. Go ahead.
They're the ones that compile it.
No, they didn't. No. This is so foolish. They did not compile the work. They are you are looking at some organization that has a panel of advisors.
No, right, they didn't do that. I'm saying they're the ones compiling these. Okay, they're not writing Jalalain and so on. They're compiling it for their site.
And those scholars are on a panel. Most of them I don't even follow or know because many of them follow weak ahadith. But the issue there being that they did not say Ibn Abbas made this reference. When you make a claim, you have to bring proof. I'm asking you to bring me a book.
They didn't say it. It's in. They've got tafsir.
What's wrong with you, Dave? Let me explain this. Let's say you're on the board of a church.
You click on the.
Let me explain
that's the commentary.
Dave, you here?
Yeah.
Paying attention? Got you. Let's say you are on a panel of a church. They bring you as an advisor, Islamophobe advisor for a church, okay? That church publishes a bunch of works that you may never even have read. Just because you're on that board does not mean that you read, accredited, or approved other things that they have, projects that they have done, okay? The point is very simple. If you claim Ibn Abbas made this tafsir of this ayah, bring me a book that I can look at the chain of narrators that authentically attributes it to Ibn Abbas. Because what I found with the chain of narrators that Ibn Abbas made this tafsir of a different ayah. Whether the book made a mistake or not is a different issue. You don't even know who compiled that book. You don't. You're just sitting here nodding. Because
the one that tells me to go to scholars every time I go to scholar for something.
Which scholar did you go to?
Those guys.
You went to them?
That's their site.
You went to them? No, listen, this is childish.
They're putting it
this
as
is
the
childish.
Of Ibn Abbas.
They are not.
You keep doing
they
it.
are.
You keep throwing
They
your scholars
are.
under the bus.
I did not. They are a committee of advisors for an organization. You did not go to them and ask them about this narration. This is not going to a scholar and learning. You are just here to try to make content.
It is not
Islam. Let me explain this.
When
David Wood came here, when David Wood,
because no,
listen. Which other? Forget me. Forget me. Which Islamic scholar did you go to, other than me?
I went to their site.
Look. Let me explain.
If they're saying, hey, this is the commentary of Ibn Abbas on this verse, I read the commentary, you tell me they're Shia,
the deception.
then I come back and you say, no, I'm not saying they're Shia.
You guys see the dishonesty. Let me explain this. I'm going to make it clear. Instead of coming and saying, did Ibn Abbas make this tafsir? And when I showed you that in the books of tafsir, I brought Ibn Kathir out to you, right?
You brought Ibn Kathir to supposedly show me that Ibn Abbas didn't say something.
That Ibn Abbas's tafsir for that ayah is not there. And instead of accepting and understanding, you just went in a loop to try to show things off, right? Instead of go to another scholar. Don't come to me. Go to somebody else and say, hey, did Ibn Abbas
scholars under the bus?
I did not throw anybody under the bus.
Here's another one. You know Maududi?
I know Maududi.
You know Maududi?
Yeah.
So last time, just as an example, wasn't something I was planning on talking about, but just to get an example in response to you constantly saying, well, you have to go to a scholar.
Yeah.
I want to say, but scholars can give different opinions and so on.
Of course they can.
I said, so for instance, on the issue of apostasy,
okay,
the four schools.
Are you jumping now?
No. I'm giving you an example of what I'm talking about.
Jump.
I gave you an example.
Okay.
I gave you an example of you. Of an issue where if I go to a scholar, they're going to give me different answers, right?
Wait, you went to Maududi?
No.
You pulled him out of the grave?
I didn't know where I was getting it. No. I didn't know where I was getting it. I brought it up as an example because I thought everyone agrees.
You speak English, right? Let me just make this clear first, because you're going to go in a loop without. When I say go to a scholar, I mean physically. Go.
Read and learn about
you can, no problem. But
when you read what a scholar said, it's useless.
You see how you interrupted me?
This is what you're telling me. I want them to understand what you're saying.
Did you guys see the interruption?
This is
a witness. Can I get a witness?
Can
I finish what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
When I finish what I'm saying, you can explain what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, don't try to rush me, bro. This ain't your time. All right. Now, when I say go to a scholar, I don't mean you Google. I don't mean look up stuff that you don't understand, you don't have the capacity to understand, you don't know the context to understand, that you're just looking up to make points. Rather, if you really want to be sincere, understand, as I did with the Bible, when I went to Bible studies and I went to Christian preachers and I sat in their lessons and I asked them questions, and then after that, when I found things that they could not show references for, that's a different issue. What you did is not to understand. You went Googled, found whatever you could for your Islam. Let me finish, bro. Now, when I say go to a scholar, I'm not saying me necessarily. I'm a student of knowledge. I'm not a scholar. I'm just a beginner. Go to an actual scholar and say, did Ibn Abbas authentically establish the tafsir of this ayah in this way? And a scholar will then explain to you that this book, for example, was not written by Ibn Abbas. It was compiled later and has weak narrations, and this reference was to a different ayah and it was put in the incorrect place by a later person. But you didn't want to know the truth. You just want to make your point. You just want to make your videos. When I say go to a scholar, I don't mean that you go look up Maududi's tafsir. That's not going to a scholar, because Maududi has said many things in his tafsir that the ulama of Islam have criticized, like his discussion about Musa alayhi salam and how he dealt with his political aligning of Yusuf alayhi salam with Mussolini and so on. This is not the way you learn.
Can't go to books, can't go to tafsir,
again.
You realize how difficult it is to learn anything about Islam.
It is not.
I'm sitting in my room, how do I learn about Islam?
Let me explain it.
No, can't learn
there. Let me
there.
explain it.
Hadith, can't learn there. Tafsir, can't learn there. Have to go to you, because you're the only sheikh I can walk up to.
Again, this is like the third time I'm saying this here. That not just me.
Yeah. But
I've said it 3 times.
I know. Where am I supposed to walk around?
Sure. Let me ask.
I can't learn by books.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Okay.
Listen. There is, for example, in America, go to Sheikh Karim Abu Zayd. right? He's a scholar, he knows. Don't come to me, go to him.
Walk up to him anytime I need to learn something about Islam.
No. Let me explain it even simpler for you. Let me take it even to a simpler level, okay? You want to learn about Tawheed, oneness of Allah. No problem, we got books, learn it. It's easy, right? You want to learn how to pray, I'll get you a book, no problem. Easy, right? But if you're going to talk about how to establish and take out the rulings on Islamic Khilafah, you're not talking about something that as a basic Muslim you need for your daily life. You are trying to get into some scholarly work. And for that, you need to go to the scholars of Islam and study with them, as we have been doing since the time of the Prophet ﷺ till our time. I went myself, I made hijrah, I left the US, I went, I sat with scholars, I studied Arabic, I studied Quran, I studied tafsir, I studied hadith, I studied the books of fiqh, right? And then now I teach those. Students come to me, and if they can't come to me, we have live links that they can watch the videos where we take them step by step, teaching them which ayah came where, what is the authentic narrations, and you could have done the same. You could have watched the same videos and learned, but you didn't.
How can I learn from videos?
Because
I have to talk to an actual person, right?
But you
I
are.
can't learn by reading.
Listen. You see now that I gave you a solution,
Who in the
you're just
world
trying to
says
go.
you can't learn by reading? What math professor would say you can't learn math by reading?
Okay,
what philosophy professor would say you can't learn Plato by reading the works
let me
of
ask
Plato?
Dave now.
There's one thing in the world you can't learn about through reading.
Let's show his hypocrisy right now, right? Let's say you want to be a doctor, and you take all the medical books home and you read them all up. Can you go and perform surgery? Can you, Dave?
You would need practice.
So you practice
no
where?
Medical professor in the world would say you can't learn everything you want to learn about embryology and everything
They would
else
tell you,
by studying.
if you want to be a doctor,
if you want to be a doctor, surgery where lives are at stake,
yes,
then you need some hands-on experience.
And how do you get that? Can you do it at home? Can you, Dave?
This is what
I can't hear you, Dave.
Notice.
I can't hear you.
Notice.
Can you go home?
You can't learn Islam by reading.
Listen. He's caught. He's caught.
Look
at him. Look at him.
Do you think this is surgery?
This is more critical than surgery. This is your hereafter. When you're talking about running an Islamic Khilafah, how to do jizya, how to do jizya, it is.
You keep telling us it's the least clear thing in the
What you
universe.
don't understand is what is clear is no doubt. The Quran tells you, "Qul huwallahu ahad." It is there. Let me finish.
Do you know why you need
I
practice?
let you speak.
No, you've been speaking for like 10 minutes.
No, I let you speak. Let me finish. Go ahead.
Do you know why you need practice for surgery?
Okay.
Because it's not that easy.
Okay.
Any doctor would
running
say
a khilafah, running a khilafah, jizya. So you're telling me an average Muslim becomes Muslim in America, he needs to know how jizya is implemented?
He needs to be able to figure it out if he wants.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, let me explain.
All the books and not figure it out.
Listen to me.
Let me give you an example that I was trying to get earlier so I can take this off my phone.
I'm going to let you speak.
Okay. So, speaking about duty, last time, just as an example, I brought up the issue of apostasy. I did not think there would be any disagreement. This was still a straight point. This was, if I go to a scholar, you say go to a scholar. The point was, if I go to a scholar, then I can get different answers. And so the issue I brought up was apostasy. And I didn't remember where I read it.
Okay.
I didn't remember it was from Maududi. This is from a video I made like 10 years ago.
You've been at this for 10 years?
Yeah.
Still.
I'm on the same side with Maududi, and you're throwing him under the bus. So I pointed
You're
out,
on the side of Maududi for everything he says?
I pointed out, no, of course not.
Only when it helps your agenda.
So something like apostasy, where the four schools agree that a male apostate is killed. I said that they have disagreements on whether a waiting period is required to give them time for repentance. There's a difference on whether women also have to be executed in the same manner as men. So I pointed that out.
Under a khilafah.
You laughed in my face.
Under a khilafah,
I was totally wrong.
No.
I'm just talking about according to the schools.
Are you done speaking?
No.
Okay. I'm going to respectfully let you finish.
Because you laughed in my face, said I'm making all this up. Where am I getting this? I'm ignorant.
I asked you.
I got this from
you're lying about me. So let me just clarify this. I asked you about the books of the different madhahib because you were saying about the differences. I said, can you name me one book in each madhab, and you could not name a single book.
Because I went to a scholar.
Right. You did not go. Once again, going and Googling Maududi's English translation is not going to a scholar.
That's not his commentary. He has a book.
Let me explain.
He has a book
hold on. Just one second. Look, what's your name, brother? Abdurrahman. Brother, if you show me a rash, right? Now pay attention, right? You show me a rash, and I tell you, bro, you got to go to a doctor. Would you take that to mean you're going to Google what a doctor said?
I would never Google that.
Yeah, because only, where did you find this?
This is his book. This is his
You
book.
have the
can get it on
book?
Amazon.
Or you got it from the internet?
You can get it on Amazon.
Did you study his book?
Yes, it's a short book.
Did you
I read
study?
the entire book.
You studied it.
Look, now you can't just read it. What do you mean?
Okay.
You have to go to Pakistan.
No.
You have to learn Urdu.
Listen,
You have to do this. Look, he's dodging the issue.
Does he not know Maududi's dead?
I made
Listen,
some comments.
don't go to Pakistan. Maududi's dead.
Go to Urdu.
No.
Who wants to say something like that?
Who wants read Arabic? Arabic's the language of the Quran. Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyya.
I said some things that came directly from Maududi. He said it was all wrong.
Listen.
So Maududi is also under the bus.
No,
Ibn Abbas under the bus.
Ibn Abbas, you quoted a weak, narration from not from the work of Ibn Abbas.
Disagrees with this man goes under the bus. Doesn't matter.
Go ahead, make your content. Go ahead.
You know this is.
Go ahead, make your content.
You know this is.
Let me Google her. Let me Google her.
I'm the only one quoting Maududi here.
Let me get you. Hold on. Let me get you. When you talk about the four madahib,
okay,
right? Do you know the four schools of thought?
Yeah.
The four madahib that you are quoting their differences.
So there are differences.
Of course, there's differences.
On the issue of apostasy.
Listen, on the issue of any fiqh issue that you bring into, the madahib are going to have opinion. In some issues, they're going to have ijma'.
Yep.
You know what that is?
It's consensus.
Excellent. Then they're going to have ikhtilaf. You know what that is?
What's that? The disagreement?
Disagreement. Then they're going to ittifaq. You know what that is?
No.
I didn't think so. When you have a majority opinion amongst the four madhahib, but there may be others that disagree. But when you study a madhab, you start with the matan. You understand what that is?
Just get your point.
No, that is the point. That you don't understand any of what you're saying, right? Now, let me explain
this. If I went to these guys and I said, what am I supposed to do with this apostate?
Sure.
I get different answers.
Who did you did not go to a scholar.
No, I just read
You
what
just
they
pick
wrote
up.
because I can read.
Listen, you are reading a book of tafsir or a book of fiqh on jizya. Is it a book of fiqh on how to implement jizya and irtad?
This is one of your scholars.
Maududi is not my scholar.
I mean Islamic
Maududi, I don't follow Maududi. I don't agree with Maududi.
So I'm supposed to go to a scholar. I go to a scholar and he says, yeah, they actually have differences of opinion on what to do with
Sure, but the issue gets
Some
to
say
be...
you don't have to give away your grade, you can just kill him. Some say if he's done it in secret versus he's done it in public, that's a different story. Some say that you execute a woman the same way as you would execute a man.
Sure.
Others say,
who says what? And what are their evidence? Who says what and what are the evidence?
Maududi gives the quotations.
Yeah, go ahead, read from him.
So according to the school of Malik, as written in his book Muwatta, from Zayd ibn Aslam, blah blah. Malik
from who?
Zayd ibn Aslam. Malik has recorded that the apostle of God declared, whoever changes his religion should be executed. Malik said about this tradition, as far as we can understand, this command of the Prophet means that the person who leaves Islam to follow another way, but conceals his kufr and continues to manifest Islamic belief, as is the pattern of the Zindiqs and others like them, should be executed.
What's a Zindiq?
Maududi says atheist, but I know that there are other explanations of that.
Which are they?
I don't know, there's not a lot of actual atheists down there, so I assume it's someone denying the one God or something like that.
No, that's not what a Zindiq is.
Okay, that's completely irrelevant to what we're talking about.
It actually is.
Every time he'll go down a rabbit trail.
It's not.
It's completely irrelevant.
Let me explain why it's relevant. Why it's relevant is because what you're reading, you don't even understand what he's talking about, the difference between a Zindiq and a Murtad.
He says atheist.
Do you know what a Zindiq and a Murtad, the difference is? You don't. See, this is the problem. When I say go to a scholar, when you ask a scholar, the scholar makes sure that you understand what you're reading. When you just if I go and pick up Grey's Anatomy, the difference between me and a doctor who can perform surgeries, the doctor goes to a university, sits with people who test his knowledge, make him understand. You can take every medical book in the world home or Google it and read it, and nobody will consider you a doctor. Why? Because your comprehension was not tested. You can go home and practice all you want. You can go home and find a dead body and cut it up. But you go to a hospital, even with that practice. Imagine David Wood goes to a hospital and says, you know what, I'm going to start taking kidneys out because I read all these books online and I've practiced at home. Nobody would allow it. Why? Because you have to be checked. Here, the difference between a murtad and a zindiq is critical. You don't even know what that means. Go ahead. Muwatta Imam Malik, is that a book of fiqh?
and others
Is
like
that a
them.
book of fiqh?
I'm giving you what your scholar said.
No,
Your
you
scholar
don't.
says
It's not
that
my scholar. I don't follow Maududi.
Yeah, but he's,
No. Listen.
all he's doing is quoting the four schools here.
Listen.
Right?
Is Muwatta Imam Malik a book of Maliki fiqh?
No, he's giving the difference. My goodness, he's explaining the difference in thought of the four schools.
Do you know what it means to go to somebody?
Should be executed after his guilt has been established. He should not be asked to repent because the repentance of such persons cannot be trusted, right? So there are certain people you don't ask to repent, you just kill them. He says, but the person who has left Islam and publicly chooses to follow another way should be requested to repent. If he repents, good, otherwise he should be executed. So he's saying there are certain people you can trust and certain people you can't trust. If he's someone you can trust and he repents, then let him repent.
The question
Other
now,
people, you just
hold on.
That's one school.
Okay, hold on. So let's take that from just what you read. From what you just read.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere else, right? If this brother, may Allah protect him, becomes a Muslim and becomes a murtad, from what you just read, and he openly becomes a murtad, should I kill him?
He openly becomes?
Openly, right here in San Diego.
Well, no, you'd say you're
Why not?
You're not under Islamic law here. Right?
I didn't read any. Did it say Islamic law there?
You're not.
Wait. No. Read what you just read. Read what you just read. Read what you just read.
The entire conversation
you see this? You
was
see this?
about whether there are differences among the four schools.
That is
he said
not
there
it.
aren't.
That is
he said
not
I'm
it.
making that up.
Let me explain
and I'm
it.
getting it from Maududi. Maududi is quoting the sources.
You
and
see?
notice what he's doing.
You see the difference
is
is
cheerleaders over here.
Yeah.
What do they say? They cheer him on even though it's not making any sense.
Listen, don't be a
My
hater
point
just because
was,
they're happy and they
there
see
are
your destruction.
differences among the
Now-
four schools.
now understand
what does he
this.
say? There are no
Understand this.
differences.
Understand
They
this.
teach the
Here, I
same
got
thing.
you.
Now I give him
Dave.
the differences and he says,
Dave.
aha,
Dave.
but what about
What
implementing? We're not talking about that.
explained-
There are different explanations of what you do.
What I
if someone's a Muslim.
explained.
That's exactly what
what
I
I
said last time. You said I
explained-
was totally wrong. And now,
He knows. That's why he's speaking to the camera instead of me.
I know what.
All right. He knows he's caught. He knows it's over. He knows it's done.
I was
He
right.
knows.
You were wrong. I was
we'll-
right. I was telling the truth. You were lying.
We'll prove it right now.
You were lying.
We'll prove it right
what?
now. Right now.
I
Right.
said there are differences in the four schools. You said no, there aren't.
Listen.
I'm giving you the differences.
Listen.
And now you're saying, hey, let's change the subject.
Listen.
And go down the.
Listen.
Why? What? You're
Listen.
talking about medical school?
Listen. When we talked
Are
about
there differences?
Murtad rules,
Are there
of course,
differences?
I told you
Okay.
from day one that in the implementation of rules, there is much khilaf between the madahib. But there are certain rules that they
That was the
all
point.
agree upon.
I agree.
Hold on.
I agree.
Listen.
Maududi even says what you just said. Maududi says what you just said. He starts off by saying they all agree.
This is the problem. He doesn't want to listen because he knows.
I'm agreeing with you.
Let me speak and then
There's
you can
no
agree.
point
I don't
in us
even
arguing
speak
if we
yet.
agree.
I'm not arguing. I'm explaining a point to you, okay? When you look at those rulings, there are some things that they're going to agree, but there are things where they're going to have disagreement. But you need to understand the context, and that's why when you read that, it did not mention anything about an Islamic Khilafah or a government. And what you did is you are now reading your own context into it.
I didn't say that.
Right, did. Right,
I didn't say anything about this context.
because if you had just read that by itself, and that's all you had.
They're all talking about under a Khilafah.
Listen. Where does it say that? You see?
That's not what we're talking about.
No,
I never
but that's
made a
the
claim.
point. You don't understand what we're talking about. You are making your own context. You're taking
saying
stuff.
Cheetos are bad. You're saying Cheetos are bad. He's saying Cheetos are bad. Notice I brought up something he never said, and now I'm going to attack him based on something he never said.
Which is a lie.
Do you know what a straw?
I like Cheetos.
Do you know what the straw?
As long as they're halal.
Do you know what the straw man fallacy is?
Listen.
Do you know what the straw man fallacy is?
Sure, I do.
Okay, what is it?
When you make an argument to trap somebody into a certain answer and then you try to get them on it.
No, it's where you
Close,
misrepresent the opponent's position
Yeah.
and then you attack your misrepresentation.
Look.
The only point I was
Okay.
making,
What?
only point I was making was
Okay.
if you say go to a scholar,
Sure.
it's not that clear because the scholars have differences of opinion.
Can
And
I-
I brought up the issue of apostasy to say the four schools have differences of how this would be implemented.
Sure.
You said, no. You laughed in my face, told me I didn't know what I was talking about. So I come back to you with Maududi, which is where I got it from. You're agreeing that they have differences, and you're saying,
You see how-
but under
you see how I'm letting
it
you
doesn't
speak?
say under an Islamic state.
You see how I'm letting you speak though, right?
The point consensus. You pick a scholar
On
go to
certain
a-
issues.
go to a
On certain
scholar.
issues there are ijma'. On certain issues there is ijma'. Certain issues there is khilaf.
If you now agree with that, then great, we're in agreement. You don't need to explain anything because we agree.
You don't want me to
There are
speak, that's what it is,
Explain
right?
what? You're gonna.
You don't want me to speak. Finish what you're
everything-
saying so I can speak.
Everything you're saying is a straw man. I thought we understood. Yes, we're
Finish.
talking about the four
See that?
schools.
You see
we're
how he's
talking about-
nervous to let me speak? Go ahead.
See how
Bro.
he's interrupting? If we're reading about the 4 schools and implementing these, I'm not saying you do this anywhere. You didn't make the claim. Never occurred to me to make the claim, but then you start attacking that point. That's a straw man. If you are in agreement now that on issues of how you treat apostates under different circumstances, the 4 schools have differences of opinion on how this is done, there's no disagreement between us right now. There's no argument between us. As long as you say yes, I say okay. And the point was, you say, oh, go to a scholar. Well, I go to one scholar, he says, yes, you kill a woman just like you kill a male apostate. I go to another scholar, no, you don't kill the women, you beat them. You beat them every 3 days until they come back to Islam. Some of them say, yes, you have to give a person a waiting period if you're to repent, and if he doesn't, then you kill him. Others say you don't have to do that. Others say it depends on whether you trust the guy or not. If you agree that they have those differences of opinion, there's no difference among us. We can move on. You don't have to attack a straw man and say, David, but you said this or that. I didn't say any of that. That's my point. Now, do you see how I let this man speak? That's what you're going to say, right? Go ahead.
No, actually, that's another lie, because all I was going to say, are you done?
Yeah.
You're done?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, would you allow me the courtesy that I gave you to speak? Thank you. First thing is, I told you from the day one, maybe you don't listen or you can watch the video again, that ulama have khilaf in their madahib and their scholarly differences. The problem you're having is, instead of listening to what I said, which was to go to a scholar, you did the same thing. You looked up an online book, which is a book of tafsir, not a book of fiqh. You don't have the capacity to understand the difference of madahib, unfortunately, and that is not something that a layman should even be getting into. A layman should be understanding the usul, the principles, before they get into that, right? But you don't want to learn. You just want to take shots. That's the problem. If you had actually done what I had asked you to do, to go to a scholar would not tell you Maududi said this and Imam Malik said this and Shafi'i said this. He would tell you that this is the opinion, this is the evidences, and if he gives you other opinions, he will give you the evidences why those are incorrect and why what is correct by looking at the strength and weaknesses of narrations, by looking at nasikh and mansukh. But you're not interested in learning. That's the problem. You did not go to a scholar. Once again, I'm saying this. You did not go to a scholar. You just looked up another tafsir book, not a fiqh book, and you try to bring forward that which you don't even understand what is being said. I never said that ulama don't have khilaf. I never said that. I teach the khilaf, right? But the issue that I was making is that if you go to actual scholars, they will give you certain things which are ijma'an, where there is a consensus, where they will not disagree. And there are going to be certain things where they're going to have khilaf. But Maududi will not give you those references. He's giving you tafsir of an ayah. If you want to understand the laws of irtad, and what is the difference between a zindiq, and what is the difference between a murtad who is a male and a female, and a dhimmi and a ghair dhimmi, and a khilafa, non-khilafa, you don't go to tafsir books, you go to fiqh books. And then they give you all of the ayat and all of the ahadith, and then they give you the references on the different scholars and their agreement. When a scholar is your teacher, he will explain that. But you didn't go to a scholar. Like I asked the brother, if I say go to a doctor, I don't mean look up a medical book. I mean physically go to a doctor, so an expert who's been tested and accredited in the field can evaluate your issue and then give you a diagnosis. You can read all the medical books in the world online or at home. You cannot write a prescription. Just like you cannot give a fatwa. You cannot implement Sharia. The Quran is simple, it's clear. For what you need as a layman, you say, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, Allah is one, easy. There is no kids, God doesn't have a son or a mother. He has nobody that is sharik with him. He created the samawat wal ard. Alhamdulillah, what you need is evident and clear. But now, if you want to take the Quran and use it as a legal system, you want to take the Quran and derive fiqh rulings from it. That's why we have scholars. That's why we have PhDs in Sharia. That is why we use those sciences to understand nasikh and mansukh and sahih and da'if and mutawatir. But you don't want to learn the rulings. You are here just to make content. That's the problem. If you want to learn about the rules of the murtad, I'll even make you a deal. Right? We have a book called Zad al-Mustaqni' that we are teaching. Listen, you see how I interrupted now? Couldn't hold it.
I can't. You're telling me.
Couldn't hold it, could you?
If every other
couldn't hold it.
If every other book you go to,
if he had just held it for 5 more seconds, it wouldn't make him look like a fool. I was going to say, there is a book I am teaching. as a teacher, called Zad al-Mustaqni', and I was going to offer you that you can study it with me. And as a teacher, I will teach it to you. I didn't say go to a book, so that little burst you did made you look like a fool. What I was saying is not to take the book at home. If you took Zad al-Mustaqni' at home, you wouldn't understand anything of it.
Wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
You understand by
because
reading.
it is a
other
very
topic in the world you can understand by reading, but not that.
any other topic in the world, yeah. Go ahead. So now, when you go to a university and you go to professors, that is there for a qualified professor to teach you. And when they test you and you pass those tests, that's when you get accredited as an engineer, as a doctor, as a scholar, as all of that. When you want to implement the Sharia, this is scholarly work, this is not layman work, then yes, you need to go to accredited scholars that need to test your abilities and give you the ijazat or asanid or masters or PhDs for you to then implement those rulings. As a layman Muslim, if you want to learn how to pray and things, no problem, I got you, it's simple stuff, right? But if you want to then get into the khilaf of madahib, you need to at least understand what the madahib are. You don't even know that Muwatta Imam Malik is a hadith book. It is not a book used for Maliki fiqh. There are books written on it like Mudawwana and Al-Istithkar and Al-Tamheed, then derive the fiqh rulings from it. And even that is not the mu'tamid. This is not to know the Maliki madhab. If you want to know the Maliki madhab, then you go to books like Mukhtasar al-Khalil, which you've never heard of. That's the problem. You're just picking stuff here and there. Maududi has many mistakes in his tafsir that the ulama of Islam have pointed out. Does that mean just because you're going to read it there, now you're going to be like, oh, you're a scholar. Maududi is not my scholar.
Maududi's under the bus.
He's not under the, this is something that I said years ago. Don't think that I need you to be impressed by this, all right? But the problem is that you are not trying to find the truth. You're trying to find little clips and bits.
My problem is your method of finding the truth.
Okay.
I have to come. No.
Don't come to me. This is like the 6th time I'm saying. Don't come to me.
The point is,
go to Sheikh Karim.
You're missing the point here.
Go to somebody else. Go to Muhammad.
You're totally, completely missing the point, right?
Okay.
Everything I've ever learned in my entire
has been Googled.
My entire scholastic. No, that's what you. That's what you do.
I Google.
Yeah.
I'm the one that brought you books. I got a library that I showed you.
I've got the library too.
How many books do you have?
Too. When I'm sitting here.
How many books do you have?
A ton.
How many? About
an entire house full, basically.
You have a house full of books?
Yeah.
Nice. I want to see a picture, man. That's cool.
Anyway, listen to the point.
How many fiqh books do you have? Just out of curiosity, since you mentioned that. What fiqh books do you have?
None.
He has a ton, house full of books, not a single fiqh book.
What is it for?
It's not about how many books, it's how many books you've read.
Yeah, how many books have you read?
Listen. So, here's what we're gathering here, right? You say, go to a scholar.
Physically?
Yeah, go to a scholar. How do I know I can trust that scholar?
Excellent.
How do I know he's not? And you would say, because he's giving the evidence, right?
You want the answer, or you see the straw man?
No.
Straw man, right? No, you see the straw man? No, but this is straw manning. This is exactly the definition. You're saying you would say. No. Now he's putting my position, and now he's going to refute it without letting me speak. Go ahead. Straw man me. Go ahead.
That's the point. He says, go to a scholar. Go to a scholar, learn from a scholar. If scholars have differences of opinion, and I go to a scholar and he gives me an opinion, one, how do I know he's not lying and misrepresenting things, right? In other words, if he says, no, that's a Shia site, how do I know that I should trust him versus not trust him? If he says, no, there are no differences on the implementation of these apostasy laws, if he says that, how do I know I should trust him versus, no, I don't know I can trust. The only way I know of to judge whether someone is telling the truth is to go look up what he's saying, look up the sources, look up the verses, look up the hadiths, look up the commentaries. The problem is that's not how you learn Islam according to you. So I have to trust some scholar. I just have to come up to some scholar.
You see the second straw manning he just did?
I just have to come up to some scholar, mindlessly trust him, because I can't learn from the books. The books are just going to lead me astray. Because I'm going to go to the books and I'll go to like
third
Maududi,
straw man.
I'll go to Maududi, and he'll say, yes, there are all these differences of opinion and so on. Wait a minute, that's not what Sheikh Uthman told me. He told me I'm an idiot for saying that sort of thing. So what am I supposed to do here? I'm supposed to believe Sheikh Uthman, not Maududi. So these two scholars, but you can't believe Maududi because he's actually writing it in a book, and so you can't trust him. You can look up the quotations. You can't trust those because who knows?
You looked up the quotations?
So
you looked up Muwatta Imam Malik?
If I would, it would be completely irrelevant to you because I have to actually walk up to a person, which you said over and over again. So if you say, oh, that's a straw man to say that I said you have to go up to a scholar.
I didn't say that, right? But what you said, instead of letting me answer on how to know which scholar, you put words in my mouth and then refuted it. Exactly the definition where you said just look at the evidences, right? So let me explain how that works.
You didn't tell me that?
I did, but you didn't understand it. Let me explain it to you, right?
I do understand.
See, again, now you're not going to let me speak,
because now
right?
you're going to talk about
now he's not going to let me speak.
For 10 minutes
you see that? You see how nervous he is from just letting me speak?
I'm against
just letting me speak. You're wasting time, not me. I'm trying to explain something to you. If this is a waste of time, why'd you fly out from New York?
Not this.
Why'd you fly out from New York?
Not this.
Yeah, so you just want to speak and not listen. This is the problem.
No, I listen over and over again. But
no, you asked a question. Let me explain it.
All of this was just, are there differences of opinion among the scholars that you could go to? You finally agree. There's no more disagreement. There's no reason to discuss this.
Again, you're trying to jump off the topic because you don't want to let me speak, right? I feel you. I understand that you're cornered. I understand you're losing. I got you.
And now you're going to go on this point that I'm not trying to make.
No. The question you asked and then answered on my behalf, let me answer it, okay? When you go to a scholar, first thing, yes, you look at somebody who's accredited, who has qualifications, right? Somebody who knows that subject, right? For example, where did Maududi graduate from? Which Islamic university? What?
Don't know.
You don't know. You don't know which Islamic university Maududi graduated from.
So now it's
hold on. Oh yeah, Allah. You go to a doctor, he doesn't have an MBBS, NDS, nothing. You're going to let him do surgery on you? You're not. You're going to make sure. You're going to check Yelp rate. No. See, now you're letting me speak. Let me speak.
If this guy went to Al-Azhar and this guy went to some other school, you're proving my point.
Let me explain it. Maududi never graduated from any Islamic university.
Because he's under the bus.
This is facts.
From under the bus.
Fact.
University.
But he didn't know, now he feels foolish. Maududi dropped out of a madrasa.
Muhammad never graduated from university, so I shouldn't
Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He is the messenger of Allah. The Quran was revealed to.
What university did Abu Bakr graduate from?
From the University of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
That's not a real university. It's not accredited.
You don't get it. Let me explain this, right? For example, if you look at Pluto or whatever, they never took courses in philosophy because they came up with theories.
Pluto was Mickey Mouse's dog.
Plato, you have Homer, you have all of those. I got you. Not the point. The point here being those are the ones that came up with it. The Quran was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. He taught it to Abu Bakr and Umar, Uthman. They are. The university system, the madrasa system, the ijazat system was developed later to be able to understand their statements. We don't ask which university they went to. Now, when you look at a madrasa system or an ijazah system, if you had known, which you didn't, Maududi dropped out of madrasa. And that is why many scholars, many scholars across the board, including my teachers, have criticized him for his lack of understanding and his political leanings, right? This is not something new. You can look up my earlier videos when I discussed tafsir and so on and the mistakes he made, right? Same thing with Sayyid Qutb. Sayyid Qutb was not a scholar. He didn't study Sharia. He was a journalist. He was an activist, but he wrote a book called Fi Zilal al-Quran, in the Shade of Quran, but many scholars criticize his mistakes in it. But this is the problem. You didn't even know where Maududi studied. You don't know. So first thing you do with a scholar is you look at their credentials, right? Like I have my credential, I have my ijazat, I have my asanid, but not just me. Many scholars No, me and Maududi, apples and oranges, right? So now, when you look at the great scholars of Islam and you look at their ijazat and asanid, that's the first thing. Secondly, when they present to you an opinion with the evidences, for you to now check evidences knowing the fiqh from a scholar is a great thing. I encourage that. The problem you are doing is you're not going to original sources, you're not going to Muwatta Imam Malik, you're not going to books of hadith like Ibn Abi Shayba or them. You're going online, looking up an English translation, skipping the scholarly step and trying to check something that you don't even understand the words you're reading. Look, I'm saying this with advice to you because you make yourself foolish every time.
Well, it's the worst advice.
You don't want my advice? Don't come here. I didn't come up to you. I didn't go up to your stand. I didn't.
You put out debate challenges for everyone.
Listen. I sent it to Christian Prince. But that's okay.
You said Christians in general.
Anybody. Okay. You came here with the claim that you're not here to debate. You're here to ask questions of a sheikh. That's on video.
You said you didn't want to debate. If you want to debate, we can set up a debate. I'll be happy to debate you.
Listen.
Would you like to debate?
Sure, why not?
Okay, cool.
But listen.
We can pick an Islamic topic and a Christian topic. How about that?
Sure, we can do that. Now, the key here is You came out to this table saying you're my favorite sheikh. I'm here to ask. Thank you. I'm here to ask a sheikh a question, right? To learn. But you know, in reality, that was not your intent, right?
No.
Speak the truth.
No.
That wasn't.
Look, I always respect people who put themselves out there versus other people. Right?
Great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you came here to learn.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So,
but look,
when I then clearly prove to you,
I mindlessly agree with everything you say.
So when
if
I
you think,
no.
If you think
Look,
that learning means you can say anything, no matter how completely ridiculous it is, and then I'm just going to mindlessly accept it, that's not what I mean by learning.
Not at all.
Not what I mean by learning.
If you don't trust what I'm saying as a scholar, then you should not be learning from me. You should go to a scholar.
If you're deceiving people, then you need to be exposed.
So now you see the truth comes out. He's not here to learn. He's here to try to expose. See the reality? No. You caught yourself right here on tape now. You're on tape, bro. You did not come here to learn. You to speak the truth, bro. Don't mask it. Right? Now let me say one thing. Let me say one thing. Okay, go ahead.
I came out here because you issued a challenge. Come and debate me. So we came out.
So you did not come to learn then?
No, at that point, no. It was a debate. You had a debate invitation.
Okay,
right?
and you and three guys or two other guys.
Then you say, no, I'm not a debater. I just give dawah. I just give dawah.
Let me clarify.
Then I came out the next time. I came out the next time because I do make videos, right?
Gotcha.
And I have made mistakes in my videos in the past.
And you still do?
Yeah, I have. I'm a human being. I make mistakes, right? So it occurred to me, hey, if I'm about to make a video on some argument from this book, why not verify with Sheikh Uthman that I am understanding the argument correctly? Let him give the best version of the argument that he can. I'm interested in that. In fact, as far as Christian-Muslim discussions and so on, my primary interest is the arguments. But sometimes I open one book and it gives one argument and another and it gives a different one. And so you're the one scholar I can just walk up to. So why would I not want to walk up to you?
I'm not. There are many scholars. You can walk up, you can go to them, you can travel to them, and you know, in countries around the world, you can approach them. That's not the issue. So let me just clarify this. So first thing, as I have continuously said, and you guys keep trying to misquote it, but I'm going to clarify it again. I am not a debater, but I'm willing to debate.
Okay.
See, so it's not, you know, all your little video clip cuts are just you guys trying to make noise. But the reality is, what I've said from the day one, I'm a da'i. I'm here to give da'wah. But if somebody wants to debate, like all three of you came out, I debated you guys, no problem.
We weren't debating. You said you didn't want to debate. That was a friendly discussion with me holding Anthony back. Because he would have just steamrolled you.
He would have, huh? Yeah. Why doesn't he come back then to steamroll?
Oh, he can.
Let him come back.
He would prefer, if you're challenging people to debate, which you did in the video, then he would like a debate. And that would be like, hey, 10-minute opening statements, and then back and forth and so on.
Look, this is a street debate. This is where you come out and we handle this, right? So now you came out, they came out, people after you came out, others came out, videos are out there. That's not an issue. But when you came back, you said, I'm here because you're my favorite sheikh to learn. When I explained to you, for example, the weakness of the narration from Ibn Kathir, from the Pact of Umar, right? Instead of accepting that, you keep going around.
Because you lied about him too.
I did?
Yes.
Okay, how?
He said, right before he quotes that passage, Ibn Kathir says, this is why Umar issued these requirements upon the Christians. Okay. And so he says he did it. He didn't say, and then he quotes the passage, and you said, "Oh yes, Ibn Kathir just quotes these things, and who knows whether he's taking them seriously." He states it as fact.
Let me explain.
He states it as fact.
See, this is why you're not here to learn, and you're here to debate. Let me explain it. Let me explain it. Okay. If I brought Ibn Kathir the next week, but you didn't show up, so I mean I can't just be carrying all my books with me all the time. But if you let me ahead of time, let me know that you're coming, I'll bring you Ibn Kathir. When you study Ibn Kathir, when he knows something is authentic, he will say thabata, it is proven from, or fi sahih, in the authentic narrations. When he knows,
talking about the narration.
Let me finish.
Right before the narration, he stated it as fact.
Let me finish. Okay. Ibn Kathir there says, and this has been narrated by the scholars of hadith before he quotes the Pact of Umar. Okay? Now, let me give you some clear, if you're a truth seeker, you will get it now, okay? Get Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Are you paying attention now?
I have.
Dar Ibn Jawzi. Dar Ibn Jawzi. This is the print house. You know, there is a scholar of hadith, Abu Ishaq al-Huwaini, who did the takhrij on it. You know what takhrij is?
No.
Okay. When they check the ahadith, right? I brought the book here.
I'm not talking about the hadith.
Hold on.
Okay.
When you quoted Umar's pact, I told you without even looking it up that it's weak, right?
I'm not talking about
now, when I showed you, you didn't bring up the pact of Umar?
If you actually go back and listen, I said this is disputed when I first mentioned it. Voices loud.
You know it's a weak hadith, right? Miskeen.
Ibn Kathir under the bus again.
Let me
under the bus again.
Hold on.
Regarded as reliable.
Hold on.
Regarded as reliable.
Hold on. Also, you knew it was weak, but you still quoted the whole thing.
I'm still not talking about it.
Okay,
I'm talking about before he quotes that. Ibn Kathir states it as a fact that Umar did this. And then he quotes a passage. So before he quotes the passage, he just states as fact.
Where is that reference? Where did he quote on Umar doing it?
There he's not quoting it. He states it as a fact.
Exactly. He does not say it's a fact. He says about Umar's deal, and then he says ruya. It has been narrated. If you had checked, and now he's been caught that he knew that was a weak narration.
I said it while we were
here. And that's why he hold on.
Regarded as reliable.
Hold on. And then he read the whole thing.
I'm saying that's not what Ibn Kathir
Why did you
said.
read the whole pact then when you knew that was disputed?
You're still not getting it.
Yeah, I'm not, because you're changing.
You're definitely not getting it.
Let me explain this.
You were saying that all Ibn Kathir is saying, all he's saying is,
this has been reported.
The jizya is humiliating if you refuse to pay. That's clearly and indisputably not what he's saying.
Okay.
Because after he says that you're humiliated and so on, which by the way is just his commentary on and feel themselves subdued in the Quran,
right?
Which the Quran doesn't say. And feel themselves subdued after they rebel against you.
Remember the whole ayah when we clarified that already?
No, you can't. That's
anyway,
not what it says. No. Because this is the problem. This is the problem, right? So you've got Ibn Kathir, and he's explaining jizya. He's explaining jizya, right? And he says it's the unbelievers who are paying jizya are going to be miserable and disgraced and humiliated and so on, right?
Let me just.
He gives that.
Bring the ayah.
929? I can quote it for you.
No, bring it here.
So this is the clear Quran. Fight those who do not believe in God and the last day, nor comply with what God and his messenger have forbidden, nor embrace the religion of truth from among those who are given the scripture until they pay the tax. Here's the thing. Until they pay the tax, willingly submitting, fully humble.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now hold on. So when are they humbled? When they are forced that they will be paying the jizya. Now here, if you had just picked this up, right? You have 3, 5, 6. Let's read it, right? Taxation system have been existed since the ancient times. There are several references in the Old Testament, and he gives the Old Testament references
here as well. You're going with this commentary over Ibn Kathir?
No, I'm not. I'm explaining something. Again, this is the thing, right? So this is Ezra 4:20, and in the New Testament, Jesus allows paying taxes to Caesar, Luke 20:25. Under Islamic rule, all individuals had financial obligations, right?
No problem.
Muslims paid zakat, 2.5% of their savings, and non-Muslims, dhimmis, were required to pay jizya, tax for protection from foreign enemies. The jizya was
from foreign enemies.
Sure, that is one of the benefits of
jizya.
Okay. Sure. The jizya was an average of 1 dinar, 4.25 gold annually. Women, children, and elderly, the clergy and the poor, those who were unable to work were exempt. Were not even forced to pay jizya. Those who opted to join the Muslim army were also exempt. Poor dhimmis were supported financially by the state. Muslim rulers refused the jizya when they failed to offer protection to their non-Muslim subjects. Now, the point there being, the ayah, when it's talking about fully humbled, how is that understood? Ulama, they explain this. Here it's clearly explained. Now, Ibn Kathir gives his opinion, and with it, he gives some references. One of them, if you had read, was about the Pact of Umar. But the Pact of Umar, as narrated by Ibn Kathir, is a weak, it's not disputed, it's a weak narration. There is a kadhib, there is a narrator in the chain that was a liar, right? And that is why Ibn Kathir, in his style of writing, he says there was a Pact of Umar, but what has been reported And the pact that you read, Ibn Kathir said this is what has been reported. He doesn't say this is established. For you to say that Ibn Kathir says that that pact was a fact is not true, right? But the problem here is, instead of trying to understand the ayah in reference to other ayats or the wording even, you read out the pact of Umar knowing it's not authentic. And when I told you it's not authentic, you were like, you're throwing him under the bus.
You are.
Right?
Because he...
When I tell you a weak hadith is weak, you tell me I'm throwing him under the bus?
He states it as... Let's read it real quick, right?
And I'm going to let you read it, but just one thing. Maybe you...
We have to go.
I just want to make a point before you record things and I'm not here and all that, right?
Okay.
Which is, this is not my job.
Okay.
I do this as a volunteer basis. This may be your job. 5 o'clock is when my time ends. Every time you've taken me over the time, and then even when I stopped recording, you kept recording and tried to act like I wasn't showing. I just want to be clear.
It's on my channel. You make videos on your channel and respond
bro,
to stuff.
we just have to be honest and not say that I was hiding any. No, in your title and all of that, you were like, what Uthman didn't show is because our camera died at that time and you were here. We stopped recording. I told you I'm done.
I didn't know that. You could have just taken the clip from mine. You have
the clip from mine. 6 minutes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, very simple. Allah said, until they pay the jizya, if they do not choose to embrace Islam with willing submission, in defeat and subservience, and feel themselves subdued, disgraced, humiliated, and belittled. Therefore, Muslims are not allowed to...
So those are not in the ayah.
What?
The ayah doesn't have those 3 words, right? This is now.
Yeah,
You're
now Ibn Kathir's commentary.
Sure.
Right.
Go ahead.
So your position was, when Ibn Kathir says that, he's describing the people who refused to pay the jizya and therefore they had to be forced and humiliated by them.
Exactly,
right?
and that's the thing. When they are forced.
All I'm saying is he's not saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Disgraced, humiliated, and belittled.
So just one second.
Read it.
But you skipped over the part. This is after you fight, and those that didn't accept. And now you're forcing them to pay jizya, right?
It doesn't say that.
Read the ayah.
Fight them.
You fight them. This is not again.
Who do you fight?
So let me explain.
Who does it say to fight?
I will explain it if you let me speak. Can I speak?
Fight those who do not believe in Allah.
Can I speak? He doesn't want me to speak. You see that? He doesn't want me to speak.
You said I had 6 minutes. You want to let me read what he said because you know it exposes you.
I just want the ayah to be read correctly. This is it. Okay.
Want me to read it?
I will, but when the thing is that when you have Ahlul Dhimma living in your land, are you fighting them? So this is why he didn't want me to speak, right?
No.
Thank you. So the ayah is for those that you fight.
Yeah, you're fighting them for their unbelief.
No, pay attention. This is where your lie just got caught, right? When you have, for example, you have Ahlul Dhimma, they live in your land, they were born as Ahlul Dhimma, they are residents, they live, you don't fight them. There is no humiliation there. There, they pay the jizya in lieu of what you pay as zakat as a Muslim. This ayah, the reason he was trying to skip the beginning is for those that you fight. And when you fight them,
fight
and
those
now,
who do not believe.
Right? Again, once again, if you do not believe, but you're living in Muslim land, are you being fought?
No, you're already a dhimmi.
But now, exactly.
But it's the dhimmis
so now,
humiliated.
Now, this is the dhimmis you fought. That's why the ayah begins with that. You want to skip the beginning of the ayah because you don't want to give context to your listeners. Read the beginning of the ayah. Go ahead.
The beginning of the ayah.
Yeah.
Fight those who do not believe in
Allah.
Allah.
So now, these rulings are going to be for those
who believe in Allah.
So this is going to be the Ahlul Dhimma.
Notice the requirement. Fighting people who do not believe in Allah until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued.
So once again, now.
Can we read what
No. Let me
you don't want to read what he said.
I will let you read it. Don't worry. But the context that you're taking away, that I want your viewers to be clear about, is if you are Ahlul Dhimma and you're not fighting, you're living in the land of the Muslims, this ayah's reference is not about you. The ahkam of Ahlul Dhimma are many, right? But this ayah is for those that fight. When you fight them and subdue them after a war, yes, they will be humbled with the jizya. Go ahead.
Allah said until they pay the jizya, if they do not choose to embrace Islam. So you pay the jizya if you don't embrace Islam. With willing
those
submission,
you fought.
in defeat and subservience, and feel themselves subdued, disgraced, humiliated, and belittled.
Which is not in the ayah, but go ahead.
Therefore, Muslims are not allowed to honor the people of Dhimma, so those are your dhimmis, not allowed to honor the people of Dhimma or elevate them above Muslims, for they, the people of Dhimma, are miserable, disgraced, and humiliated. Muslim recorded from Abu Huraira that the Prophet said, do not initiate the salam, blah, blah, blah. We've gone through that before.
No, wait, don't skip over it. Don't skip over it. You see that? You want to skip, right? So now.
Do you want to go through? We've talked about it.
I do.
I'm not disputing your explanation. I'm not disputing
so
your
agree.
explanation. Yeah. Good. No, I don't agree, but.
No, you just said I don't dispute it, and you said I don't agree.
I don't agree. No, I don't agree with it.
Let's keep going, bro. Keep going.
Ibn Umar gave the greeting of peace to someone, found out it was a Christian, and then said, "Give me my greeting back." So that was not. Did
you know the hadith actually about the Jews and all of that? You didn't get any of that.
This is
when they tried to change the wording.
Notice what he says.
Better. Go ahead.
This is why. So this is Ibn Kathir's commentary. This is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, demanded his well-known conditions be met by the Christians. These conditions that ensured their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace. Right? Sure. That's before he quotes the hadith. The scholars of hadith narrated from Abu Hurairah. Then he gives it, right?
Now,
before he gives
hold
it.
On, hold on.
This is a statement of fact.
Sure, you read it, right?
This is why. Notice, everyone, is Ibn Kathir here saying that this is a false story, that Umar never did this, or is he taking this as fact?
He did not say that.
This is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, demanded his well-known conditions be met by the Christians, these conditions that ensured their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace. Then he gives a hadith, right? And he says, weak hadith.
Wait, what does he say?
Is stating this as fact. Even if you want to say, hey, Ibn Kathir didn't know what he was talking about, get under the bus, Ibn Kathir.
Did not say that. Did not. Straw man again.
Even if you want to say he's quoting hadith, he states it as fact that Umar did this. He states it as fact. So if you're saying his position is actually, no, this only applies if Christians refuse to pay the jizya. The story he gives, even if you want to throw it out, is about Christians who were willingly paying jizya, and he states it as fact that Umar did this. So my only point here, I'm not even saying that this is correct.
Are you done?
I'm saying, no, just if you were right.
I'm letting you finish.
If you were right, which you're not, but if you were right about jizya, and you were to say, Ibn Kathir didn't know what he was talking about, he's wrong.
I never said that.
No, I'm saying if you're
straw man again.
No, I'm saying if you were saying that.
Which I'm not.
I don't believe Ibn Kathir is right about everything.
I agree with you.
Anytime you have human beings involved in something, they're going to make mistakes. So if you wanted to say he's wrong, he had the wrong opinion, I would be fine with that. The problem is you're saying that Ibn Kathir is saying what you're saying, and there's no way he's saying that. It's impossible for him to be saying what you're saying.
Can I speak now?
Yeah.
All right. And then I told you time is up, but I'm going to respond.
And then I'll just take 1 minute at the end, because there's a problem here.
All right. Now, the first thing is that the beginning of the ayah sends the context that these are Ahlul Dhimma that fought, right? You keep trying to skip over that because you don't want to give the context for your viewers, right? Ibn Kathir's tafsir is going to be in context to the ayah. Right? That's why he's talking about that particular ayah. I keep telling you this, but you don't want to listen because you don't want to learn. If you want to know the rulings of Ahlul Dhimma or Jizya, then study a fiqh book that will bring all the different ayat, all the different hadith, and all the different circumstances. When Umar ibn Khattab, pay attention now, when Umar ibn Khattab went to Sham and he fought the Byzantines, was this people of Dhimma that were just there, or were this people that were fought by the Muslim armies with Khalid ibn Walid, the Battle of Mu'tah, what happened in Urdan? You can go and check till today. This is the context that you are skipping, that Ibn Kathir is saying that no doubt, and I have no doubt, that Umar ibn Khattab and the Muslim armies fought the Romans and defeated them, and after that battle he set conditions on them. This is well known. But what were those conditions? We have many different narrations that mention different conditions. When we teach fiqh books, we bring those narrations, we look at the authenticity of them, and then we say these ones have been authentically reported, these ones are in weak hadith, and this would clarify your issues if you really wanted to know the truth. What Ibn Kathir says, Umar ibn Khattab, Amir al-Mu'mineen, radiyallahu anhu, no doubt he won, he set condition on dhimmis that he fought, and they were humiliated but defeated, and he set those conditions. But then he says, and it has been reported, If you knew anything about Ibn Kathir or tafsir or hadith, you would have known that when it's an authentic narration that he takes as a fact, he would have said thabata or sahha, authentic. When he says it has been reported, that means he's pointing out to a weakness. So the wordings of those conditions is a weak hadith. I brought Ibn Kathir to show you. If you want, I'll bring it again. Look at the takhrij, look at the checking. All Ibn Kathir is saying is that the fact is that Umar radiyan did establish jizya on Ahlul Dhimma. And from the context and history, go look it up. Those were Dhimma that fought. If you are a Dhimmi who is not fighting in the Muslim lands, you have rights, you can even practice your own religion, you can use your own divorce laws and marital laws, you pay your jizya as the Muslims pay your zakat. But if you are going to fight the Muslims and there is a war and you are defeated, then no doubt that jizya will be a humiliation for the defeated. If we look at the conditions that were put on the Germans after their defeat in World War II, they were humiliating. They were meant to be humiliation, or before, after World War I. And that's the thing. When you have a victory, no doubt, either those that become Muslim or join the Muslim army, no problem. No jizya on them. No humiliation on them. You want to come? If the Muslim state is going to be fought and they're going to be victorious, then no doubt those that lose will be humiliated. There is no doubt to that. Umar ibn Khattab's battles against the Romans, I have taught it. You can look at the series, you can get the references, look at Tabari and Sa'd and all of that. Those were wars. But Ahlul Dhimma that are born or raised or willingly come to the Muslim lands, this is not about them being fought. They will also have jizya. But their jizya is in lieu, as we read from here, and as the ulama of fiqh have explained, in lieu of the zakat that is paid by the Muslim. And you already said you had no problem with that. Thank you for your time. If you want to come back, you didn't do your homework. You had an assignment
to bring. Come back with Muhammad's slave.
You had that homework to bring me action. See, now he doesn't remember it. I'm glad you have it on tape. I
say this with everyone as my witness. If we said it, I forgot.
Yeah, well, then you're a weak narrator in hadith to begin with. We can't even accept hadith from you.
You can show me that.
I will. I'll get you the video clip. No problem.
Two things. I'll keep this short.
And I have my homework to present, which you didn't even ask because you don't want to know. You just want to make content. You asked me as homework to look up. You don't want my homework?
No, I'm saying if you want,
I'm done. I was just going to present my homework.
Let's wrap this up. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. If you want to talk later, I'll talk later, man.
Okay, look,
I'm just gonna. I'll hang out.
I know you got nothing to do, but I got things to do.
Okay.
So
let me just wrap up this.
Let me just say the homework, and then you can wrap up, and then I'll wrap up. We're done. Your homework you asked me for was to find a Christian scholar that used biblical verses to justify violence.
Straw man.
He didn't.
Straw man.
All right, if we have it on tape.
You can find all kinds of...
If we find it on tape, if we have it on video, then you know who the liar is today.
And then you can go. And I said, if you find a Christian who's quoting a command of Jesus or the New Testament, and he says this is calling for us to go around killing and slaughtering people, he's either crazy or he's got an agenda. That's what I said. Didn't say you couldn't find one.
Right.
Of course you can find one.
So now,
of course,
Reverend Michael Bure, Reverend Paul Hill, that have written entire books on this, he's throwing them under the bus now. He's saying they're crazy. Anybody that doesn't agree with him on Christian law is now crazy.
Go
ahead. I do have to go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wrap up. Trying to wrap up. Then we got to continue.
Wrap up.
So
I did my homework.
We could have a debate. We could have a debate on that if you want to actually debate. But look at what we have over and over again. If you want to learn about Islam, the Quran's just going to lead you astray.
Nope. Never said that. Straw man again.
And well, it does. Every time I quote them, they say I'm getting it wrong. So it's not good enough. You have to actually go to a scholar. Now, here's the thing. Here's the problem I pointed out with that, right? If I go to a scholar, how do I know he's trustworthy? He says, oh, well, look at his credentials and so on. How do I know I can trust those credentials? How do I know this university is better than that? I have to have something I can compare it with. I have to be able to have sources and say, this person quotes things accurately, this person is being deceptive. So if I go up to a scholar and I say, look, here's what this website, this tafsir website says when they're given a quotation. They're Shias. And then I go look it up, and they're not Shias. Or if I say, here's a quotation from Abu Dawud. Ah, you moron, that's not an Abu Dawud. And I know it's an Abu Dawud because I read it 50 times. Right? Or if I bring up some differences of opinion among the scholars of Islam, on apostasy laws, and he says, no, there are no differences. And then I'm getting this from another scholar, right? If over and over and over again, how do I know who to believe here, right? Especially if someone's constantly throwing scholars under the bus and saying things that are completely false. So how do I know I trust this guy versus someone else? And it looks like you would say, well, go trust someone else then. Point is, what if I go to that person and I start asking him questions and it doesn't seem like it lines up with what's in the sources?
Sure.
It seems to me, if you take a Christian or whatever, Christian...
Unless he disagrees, then he's crazy. Because
Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever. If the person is saying something, it seems you go back to the text.
Of course.
To make sure it lines
back
up.
to the text.
Back
Not
to
that
the
you go
text.
to the text without going to the scholar. See? You see now? You see that?
Look, you go to the scholar.
You didn't go to a scholar. You went online and Googled.
He starts throwing other scholars.
Finish what you're saying. Finish.
You know that.
Finish.
You know Maududi writes a book. Maududi says one thing, you say something else, Maududi goes under the bus. Ibn Kathir says one thing, you say something else, Ibn Kathir goes under the bus.
You didn't understand Ibn Kathir. I tried to explain it right now.
Oh, I understand Ibn Kathir.
You do not.
You either understand him.
You don't even know his name, bro. You've never studied Ibn Kathir. I have.
You either don't understand him or you're lying about it. Those are the only two possibilities.
What's his actual name?
I didn't.
You don't know Ibn Kathir.
No one cares.
What's his style of writing?
I can read words off the page.
You are reading a Google website in English, not understanding the style of writing.
That's the Darul Salam.
No. When you say ru'ya, let me explain this now, okay? Are you done speaking? Are you done speaking?
He's going to tell me when Ibn Kathir quotes this passage
something.
later. He states it as fact. This is why Umar bin al-Khattab established his well-known conditions.
No
He's
doubt.
saying it's well known that he established this. On
Which
whom
he fought.
The story he gives is from Christians who came up and said, we gladly submit as
Incorrect.
enemies.
Incorrect. Historically, you're lying.
You want me to pull it up again?
No. Hold on. That's the thing that you're not getting.
I'm getting it.
No, you're not. Are you done speaking? Are you done with your little wrap up?
I give you every scholar every source as Plato to shape.
Are you done? Are you done with your wrap up?
I don't know. If you're going to say something wrong.
Finish your wrap up.
So this is the problem.
Okay, got you.
This is the problem.
Finish your wrap up. You're going in a circle.
You read the Quran, you read the Hadith, you go up to a scholar, you go up to a da'i, and he says a ton of stuff that does not line up with the passage at all. Just doesn't line up, right? It's like, I mean, you're familiar with this. I don't think you're in this camp, but it's like in the past, like 10 years ago, we go up and we say, what about Aisha? 9 years old when Muhammad had sex with her. They go, no, she wasn't 9, she was 18. And we're looking at the passage, we're going, there's no way that this guy is right. But these are like da'is and apologists and scholars and so on, and they're saying, no, she was 18, right? We're sitting here going, okay, the text says one thing, he says something else. Who do I believe here? I'm going with the text. I'm going with the text, right? So if this keeps happening, every time I go up to a scholar, he starts saying, no, those are Shias. No, you can't trust that guy. No, you can't trust this guy. No, that's not in Sunan Abu Dawud. And I keep looking it up, and wait a minute, this guy's saying things are wrong. Either he doesn't know what he's talking about as much as he thinks, or he's being deceptive. Either way, I can't trust everything this guy says. I have to go back to the text. But as soon as I go back to the text, you say, no, my good man, you have to go to a scholar.
Are you done? Are you done speaking?
Infinite regress problem.
Are you done speaking with your wrap up?
I don't know.
No. What do you mean you don't know? If you're done with your wrap up, then I'm going to speak. I don't want to interrupt you.
Without saying anything false, I will not interrupt. And without saying anything.
All your falseness, then I can't stop that. But this is what I'm going to say. Okay, I'm ending. So you can keep recording or talking if you want after this, but don't try to act like I stopped recording or something like this, right? I have explained this to you repeatedly, but I'm going to wrap this up again, that you didn't go to a scholar to begin with. You went to online resources, made assumptions that fit your agenda, and then came and then tried to debate around it. You didn't go to the Muwatta Imam Malik. You didn't go to the books of Maliki fiqh. You didn't look at the Khilaf. You tried to find anything that would find a reference that you could try to use, not understanding even the style of writing. I'm not saying take a scholar's opinion blindly. Always looks at, when we give our adilla, our proofs, we give evidences, right? What I tried to explain to you, if you want to understand the issue of jizya, I have videos and durus. If you don't want to watch mine, no problem. There are other ulama and scholars and tullab ilm. I'm just a beginning student of knowledge. You can find somebody much more knowledgeable than me. And if you really want to sincerely know, you can go up to them, you can talk to them, you can find out. And when they give you then they're understanding from different sources. Feel free to get those sources and check them. But you go to the scholar and understand the concept first, then you can check those sources, you can bring it back to them and try to understand what they're saying, how they're saying. When you find things that you are already trying to use, not knowing the authenticity, not knowing the style of writing, nobody's throwing Ibn Kathir under the bus. You don't understand the style of writing. I explained it. Ibn Kathir is talking about the context of an ayah. You have to look at the beginning of the ayah, that this is about a battle. Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu's well-known battles. And you can look at history, go to Tabari. If you don't have the references, I'll bring you the books and you can go home, scan them and read them yourself. That these were battles. This was at the end of battles. And when he put conditions, no doubt, and if you go to Ibn Abi Shayba or any of these books that record these, they give difference in narrations. I taught the life of Umar ibn Khattab. I taught this subject. There's a video years before you even came out here, so don't think that I'm worried about you. And I gave the different conditions and the different narrations, and I gave those that are authentic, and I explained those that were in weak ahadith. Ibn Kathir is just pointing out the fact that this did happen, but what were the conditions? This narration itself, Ibn Kathir, if you understood how he writes, when he says it has been narrated, and the fact that you knew is disputed, tells me that you knew that, but you were still trying to use it to make a point.
I said it at the beginning.
Yes, exactly, but then you depended on, when I told you it's weak, you were like, oh, you're throwing Ibn Kathir under the bus. Did you not say Ibn Kathir?
I quoted it to show how Ibn Kathir was using it.
Ibn Kathir says that he did not say this is a fact. The actual narration, he did not say it's a fact. He said this has been reported by the scholars of
Not
hadith.
the narration. He stated before the narration.
No doubt, and I have said this now repeatedly.
Well-known
that Umar won.
Well-known conditions.
But what?
And now,
listen,
now you're lying about Ibn Kathir as far as this being after battle. He was fighting this offensively.
Listen.
This is the historical background of Surah 9, verse 29.
This is the ignorance of David Wood,
it's
right?
the background of Surah 9, verse 29.
The fights.
Muhammad said, no more.
Listen.
No more mushrikun coming to the pilgrimage.
Listen.
And it says the Quraysh worried that this would hurt their trade.
Where's that
from? Ibn Kathir.
Show me that. Go ahead.
You already read it.
No, show me about the Quraysh and people not coming and not getting wealth. Show me. Where in Ibn Kathir?
It's not in Ibn Kathir.
Find it.
I'm the biggest liar in the world.
Biggest liar in the world. Got it.
I'll show you exactly what it says.
Listen.
Ibn Kathir says.
Listen.
Ibn Kathir says.
Battles.
The background.
The battles.
Surah 9 verse 28. Surah 9 verse 29. And there's even it's in Ibn Kathir's Battles of the Prophet. It's PDF. You can get it online.
Let me explain something.
Or you can buy it.
Listen, you're talking about PDFs. I've taught that history. When you have the battles with the Romans,
know it, and that's worse.
the battles,
it's worse if you're knowing
battles with the Romans, how did they start?
According to Ibn Kathir, the Quraysh were worried that saying that the pagans can no longer take the pilgrimage to Mecca is going to hurt their profits from trade, and so they're worried.
So you don't know about Tabuk?
This is what led to Tabuk according to Ibn Kathir. And so Ibn Kathir says that after that, that you shouldn't worry about losing money here because Allah can enrich you if He wills. Next verse, how's He going to do that? Fight those who do not believe in Allah. No. And it says, after Allah revealed, Surah 9 verse 29, after He revealed that, then Muhammad decided we're going to go fight the Romans to invite them to Islam and make them pay jizya if they don't.
Let me explain this again.
You're going to explain it in a way that
no, but you don't understand. When you look
at about to attack Arabia.
See, he knows it. He knows it.
I know this is what you guys say.
Look.
The Romans are about to march hundreds of miles into the middle of the desert.
The clear ahadith on this that are established. Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. I taught it.
What's it say?
That the Romans had an army that they were preparing. That they were preparing to attack Medina. This is established. Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. We'll get it for you.
Give it to me.
Okay, we'll get it. I'll bring it. I'll bring you the actual book. Right?
Okay.
And then the lie of David would be shown.